morning. Hello, everyone, and how are y'all doing today? Sharice Johnson Moore here for another episode of Morning Word and Worship. I hope you are marvelous today. I hope you are in good spirits this morning. And I wanted to, just let you know that God is always there for you. Okay. I wanted to, just have this moment with you to remind you of how God has brought you a mighty long way. This is more of a motivational than the regular morning word and worship, where I give you a passage out of the Bible. And I wanted to say that life is a journey. Life is a journey, and yes, you will fall down and you shall get back up. And sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we may forget those things that are set before us in a way that we forget that God has brought us through one trial, one tribulation, one situation, one this, and God has brought us through so many things in our lives from birth until the time you are living. There are too many to count them all. He's brought you from a mighty long way. And you got to count them blessings, baby. Count them blessings, count them, because it's so many, you can't name them one by one, right? And with this motivational, I want to get into a topic of about the children of Israel. And we see that the children of Israel, when they left from Egypt, they were, how could I say this? One way when they left, but in the wilderness, God turned them into what He wanted them to be. And think about this journey in your life, that you might have had some rough beginnings, you might have had nice pretty beginnings, but then the story changes and the narrative changes for you, and you cannot give up. You cannot turn your back on God. I know sometimes we want to do that, and we ask Him why, Lord, why I'm going through this, why I'm going through that, and sometimes it is just that He wants to make sure that you are in a changed heart, in a changed mind, in a changed setting, in a change. God is constantly changing you, as He did with the children of Israel. God is constantly changing you. And life has gotten to the point where, if you look back over it, He's brought you a mighty long way. You might not see that now, but wait till you get about, I'll say 50 years old, or sometimes you might want to wait till you're 97, like my grandmother, or 104, like my great grandmother, and you think about, wow. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about that other day. About how they live for so long like that. How did they live for so long in that time frame that they lived that long? You know, and sometimes it is the uh sometimes it is, how could I say this? Sometimes it is the strength of others that motivates you. Especially my great grandmother's story. She's born in 1880. And you think of 1880 to 1980, that's 100 years, right? Think about it. 1880 to 1980 is 100 years. Okay. And then you think you add on another 4 more years to that. That's a whole that's a whole lifetime. And I think about what she had to grow up with, where she was on the cusp of the 1880 is not far from 1865 when the state slavery came about, in the slavery. And then you think about it, and then she had to grow up in Reconstruction and things like that. And I was like, wow. And then she lived through World War One, World War Two, Vietnam, um, these different wars that happened over that time period. And you think about, wow, my grandma grew up, during that time too. And it was like, that's got a lot. That has got a lot to be seen and stories told. And right now, my podcast, I'm thinking of the same aspect of in Deuteronomy, excuse me, Deuteronomy, where Moses is reviewing everything with the new generation of the Israelites because the ones that came out of Egypt do not exist anymore. And that's what we have to do with our generation. He's brought us a mighty long way to tell our stories, to tell the children of what they missed or what they should not repeat in their time. It's a like a come on like a do-over, right? Almost. And sometimes we have to understand that um you got to understand that life is full of do-overs. Life is full of getting it right the next time. Life is saying, look, I ain't doing that again. Um, Sometimes life is okay. I can't wait till I have grandkids and grandchildren and teach them the wisdom of what I have learned growing up, which I'm in that phase now. And the thing is, enjoy your life, because God gave you one life to really enjoy, one life to really get it together, one life to really don't be so busy that you miss the moments. Don't be so busy that you miss the moments with your grandchildren, with your great grandchildren, with your children. Don't be in such a doing all the time that you miss your moments. You miss the time with your grandchildren. Okay. And um and it's just that, and love on yourselves. Love on yourselves, baby. Love on yourself. Just love on yourself. And never, ever be ashamed to tell your stories, because your stories could help somebody else. Your stories could motivate other generations to get up and get to moving. Your story, he brought you a mighty long way, so you got a lot to tell. You got a lot to tell, child. Child. Mm-mm. Lot to tell. All right. So I'm not going to be before you long today. It's not going to be long and drawn out, things of that nature. And I'm working on some new projects, working on new things to get my programs a little bit more, a little bit more for you, a little bit more emphasis and presentation wise. So, like I said, I love y'all, and I hope that you have a marvelous day. And think about it. Think about yourself, just like think about yourself as one of the children of Israel, right? And look where God has brought you from, and look at where you at now, right? Look at where you at now. Look at where you are right now, and count your blessings. Write them down. You might can't write them down, but count them all on joy. All right, babies. I love you. And if you don't know about the podcast, you better catch it. Okay, Sharice Johnson Moore's podcast is available on Apple, Google, Spotify, Breaker, Anchor, and other distribution channels for streaming podcasts. Okay, so I just want to remind you all of that. And I also want to remind you I love you and you have a blessed day.